5 years ago, my ex-wife and I went through what I believed would be a simple, cooperative divorce. At the time, I was 37 and she was 36. After 12 years of marriage, we had simply grown apart. There was no major fight, no betrayal, just two people who agreed it was time to move on. We decided to split everything evenly, including custody of our two children, who were 6 and 4 back then. We even discussed hiring a mediator to make the process smooth and respectful. I honestly thought we were handling things like mature adults, and I was proud of that. But I couldn't have been more wrong. Things changed faster than I could process. Out of nowhere, my ex began making serious accusations against me. She claimed I had been financially abusive throughout our marriage, that I controlled all the money and only gave her an allowance. She said I was emotionally abusive and a neglectful father. She even implied I'd been hiding money or doing something illegal financially. None of it was true. Not one bit. We had always shared joint bank accounts. She had full access to our finances, and I often encouraged her to manage them with me because I believed we were a team. As for being an absent or abusive parent, that couldn't be further from reality. I was deeply involved in my kids' lives and had never once heard a complaint from her about my behavior. It felt like she was rewriting our entire history to make me look like a terrible person. Then things escalated. She filed court documents accusing me of emotional abuse, financial control, and being a distant father. She twisted small, ordinary moments from our marriage into something ugly and unrecognizable. It was like watching the person I once trusted completely turn into a stranger. But what broke me most wasn't her. It was my family's reaction. I expected them to support me, to at least question her claims. They knew me. They'd seen how I was as a husband and father. I thought they'd see the true. I was wrong. My parents and siblings took her side. They said things like, "She's always been such a wonderful mother. Why would she lie?" It was like no one cared to hear my version of events. My sister even testified against me in court, claiming she'd seen me act controlling, which was completely false. I still don't know if she truly believed it or just wanted to stay on my ex's good side, but her testimony sealed my fate. The court ruled heavily in my ex's favor. I lost nearly everything. She was granted full custody, and I was limited to supervised visits, as if I were a danger to my own children. On top of that, I was ordered to pay far more alimony than what we'd initially agreed upon. The experience broke me. It wasn't only about losing my kids or the unfair settlement. It was the betrayal from my ex, from my family, and from the system itself. It felt like my entire world had fallen apart and there was nothing I could do. The years that followed were incredibly hard. I tried to rebuild my life while staying strong for my children. I saw them only every other weekend, and each goodbye felt like reopening a wound. Still, I refused to give up. I started keeping records. Every email, every message, every document from our marriage. I even saved old financial files, determined to be ready if the truth ever came out. At the same time, I began therapy. I needed help dealing with the pain, the betrayal, the loneliness, and the loss of my family's trust. Meanwhile, my ex thrived. She played the victim so convincingly that everyone believed her. In our community, she was seen as the brave single mother, and I was the villain. Everywhere I went, grocery stores, school events, neighborhood gatherings, I could feel the judgment. People whispered, stared, or avoided me. Some even confronted me, saying things like, "How could you treat your family that way?" To make things worse, my ex began writing a blog about surviving an abusive marriage. In her posts, she described herself as a brave woman who escaped a toxic relationship and was rebuilding her life. She portrayed me as some kind of monster, and people believed her. The sympathy, attention, and praise she received were overwhelming. It was frustrating, but I had to stay focused. My kids were the only reason I kept going. They were my anchor through all of it. Then, last month, everything changed. My ex started dating a man she met in her therapy group. At first, I didn't think much of it, until he unexpectedly reached out to me with shocking information. He told me my ex had confessed that all the abuse allegations she made were false. She admitted she fabricated everything to secure her future, gain full custody, and ensure financial stability. When this man realized she was starting to manipulate him the same way, he decided to come forward. He brought text messages and record conversations where she openly bragged about deceiving my family and the court. She had been in control the entire time, carefully using everyone around her. She knew my family's history, how protective they were after my aunt experienced financial abuse years ago, and she used that to turn them against me. Even worse, she admitted to coaching our children to say negative things about me during custody evaluations. Seeing that evidence filled me with a mix of relief and anger. Finally, the truth was out, but I couldn't believe how far she had gone. I immediately sent all the proof to my lawyer, and we began the process of reopening the divorce case. But that's not where it ends. I've also decided to take legal action against some of my family members. My lawyer believes we have a strong case for defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress, especially against my sister, whose false testimony played a major role in how unfairly the case turned out. As you can imagine, my family is now in complete shock. I've received tearful apologies from almost everyone. My parents claim they were just trying to protect someone they thought was a victim. My brother says they were all manipulated and didn't mean any harm. They're begging me to drop the lawsuit, saying it will destroy the family. But how can I just forgive them? Their actions didn't just hurt me, they cost me precious years with my children. They damaged my reputation and left me to deal with years of emotional pain. I've spent thousands on therapy just trying to recover. A simple apology doesn't erase the damage. Now, I'm left wondering if I can ever truly forgive them, or if they even deserve it. For the past 5 years, I've been rebuilding my life from the ground up. It hasn't been easy. My career took a huge hit because of my ex's lies. In a small community, word spreads fast. And once people believe something bad about you, it's almost impossible to repair your name. I lost job opportunities, and doors that were once open suddenly closed. But the hardest part wasn't the career setbacks or the judgmental looks. It was everything I missed with my kids. School plays, birthdays, first days of school, bedtime stories. Those moments don't come back, no matter how much time passes. Recently, the pain hit me again when my 16-year-old daughter sat me down and asked why I didn't fight harder to be in her life. I didn't know how to respond. I did fight, with everything I had, but the system was against me from the start. Hearing her say that crushed me. It felt like I had failed her no matter what I did. Now the same family who turned their backs on me say they want reconciliation. They claim to understand their mistakes and want to make amends. But how do I trust them again? What they did wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a choice. They chose to believe lies without hearing me out. They chose to testify against me, knowing the consequences. And those, destroyed my life. Even if I win the legal battle, I know the emotional scars will never completely heal. I lost years with my kids, my reputation, and a sense of trust in my own family. You can't undo that with a few apologies or promises to change. So now I'm faced with a difficult question. Am I wrong to pursue legal action against them? Or is it the only way to hold them accountable for what they did? Part of me feels justified. They played a role in my downfall, and there should be consequences. But another part of me worries this might only deepen the pain and reopen old wounds. I'm torn between anger and the desire for peace. I don't know which path will bring real closure. It's hard to move forward when the people who were supposed to stand by you were the same ones who helped tear you down. I genuinely appreciate any advice or perspective on what I should do next. First off, thank you all so much for the incredible support. Reading your messages has meant the world to me. Your words and advice have reminded me that I'm not alone in this. Many of you asked questions, so here's what's been happening. Yes, I have full documentation, proof of financial losses, emotional distress, and every lie that was used against me. The financial impact alone has been devastating. Between lost income, therapy costs, legal fees, and excessive alimony, my lawyer estimates total damages of around $380,000. That's money I'll never recover. But honestly, the emotional toll has been even heavier. For the past 5 years, I've been trying to rebuild my life while maintaining a relationship with my kids. It's been incredibly difficult. My daughter, now 16, recently asked again why I didn't fight harder for her, and it broke me all over again. I fought with everything I had, but the system was stacked against me. Thankfully, things are finally changing, thanks to Mindu. Not his real name, the man my ex began dating. He came forward with a sworn statement and months of text messages proving she had lied. Reading them was painful. She bragged about how easily she turned my family against me, calling me predictable and too soft to fight back. James said he decided to tell the truth because she began treating him the same way. When he questioned her about suspicious financial activity, she accused him of being controlling, just like she did to me. That's when he realized what she really was and came forward to stop her from ruining another life. Since this evidence surfaced, my kids have been spending more time with me. They're angry at their mom, but mostly confused. I'm doing my best to assure them they don't have to pick sides. My daughter asked why her mom would say such awful things, and I could only tell her that sometimes people make bad choices when they're hurt or scared. My son told me he used to feel guilty enjoying time with me because his mom would get upset when he mentioned it. That absolutely broke my heart. The legal case is still ongoing. My ex's visitation hasn't been suspended yet, but there's a hearing next week, and my lawyer believes the new evidence will change the custody arrangement. For now, my focus is rebuilding trust with my kids and giving them a stable home. Things with my family, however, remain complicated. My sister recently came to my house crying, begging me to drop the lawsuit. She said she could lose her teaching job if this becomes public. She claimed she was manipulated, just like everyone else. But I reminded her that she looked me in the eye and lied under oath. That was her choice. When I said that, she accused me of being vindictive, which is unbelievable considering everything that's happened. My parents are now contacting other relatives, trying to pressure me to end the lawsuit. I've been getting calls from cousins, aunts, and uncles, all saying the same things. Family comes first. This isn't what your grandparents would have wanted. Or, think about how this looks. It's frustrating, especially since none of them supported me when I needed them most. They believe the lies, and now they're more concerned about appearances than accountability. On the other hand, some of my ex's former friends have reached out. A few admitted they'd heard her brag about playing the system when she was drinking. They're now willing to provide statements confirming what they knew. One woman even apologized, saying she always doubted my ex's stories but was too afraid to speak up. It's frustrating this truth is only coming out now, but I'm grateful they're finally stepping forward. Some of you have asked whether I'm worried about how this will affect my kids emotionally. Honestly, I am. But I also believe it's essential to show my kids that standing up for yourself truly matters. I want them to understand that integrity and accountability are worth defending, even when the path is difficult. The hearing went far better than I had hoped. The judge was visibly unsettled after hearing James's testimony and reviewing the sworn statements from my ex's former friends. But the most powerful moment came when they played a recording of my ex mocking my sister, saying she'd believe anything because she always wants to be the family hero. Hearing that in court was surreal. It made everything fall into place. My sister's eagerness to take sides and her need to look like a savior suddenly made sense. But it also deepened the sense of betrayal. The judge didn't hold back. He temporarily reduced my ex's visitation rights to supervised visits until a full custody. Review could be completed. For the first time in years, I finally felt a small victory. When I explained the new arrangement to my kids, their reactions were mixed. My daughter seemed relieved, as if a burden had been lifted, while my son was more uncertain, worried about what it meant for his relationship with his mom. I've been reassuring them that none of this is their fault, that I only want their lives to be peaceful and secure. It's a difficult balance to strike. I want to be honest without turning them against their mother. She's still their mom, and despite everything, I want them to have a healthy relationship with her, even if it's supervised for now. Soon after the hearing, my lawyer received an unexpected call from my family's attorney offering a settlement. The deal included a public apology, coverage for therapy costs, and help with my legal fees to reopen the divorce case. At first, it seemed promising, but there were major red flags. The compensation didn't come close to what we were seeking, and it came with an NDA, which essentially meant burying the truth. That didn't sit right with me. For years, I've lived under the shadow of lies, branded as an abuser while they played the role of concerned relatives. Why should they get to silence the truth now that it's inconvenient for them? I'll admit, I'm torn. Accepting the settlement would spare me and my kids from more court battles, but the truth deserves to be heard. My sister's actions went beyond me. She's a teacher who has testified in other custody cases, influencing outcomes with her expert opinion. How many families might have suffered from her lack of integrity? Revealing what she did might prevent future harm. As for my ex, her attempt to discredit James by calling him a bitter ex-boyfriend backfired when he presented messages from her friends supporting his story. 3 of her closest friends have now submitted sworn statements admitting she used to boast about manipulating the sea during the divorce. One even confessed she stayed silent to protect their friendship. It's validating to see them come forward, but frustrating too. If they'd spoken sooner, maybe so much pain could have been avoided. Meanwhile, my parents continue their so-called mediation. They've shown up unannounced, left notes, and even used my kids to deliver messages. It's draining. They're more concerned about preserving their image than acknowledging the damage they've caused. My father even told me to consider how this is affecting my mother's health. I couldn't believe it. Where was this concern when I lost my job, my reputation, and precious time with my children? On a brighter note, some neighbors have started reaching out as the truth surfaces. People who avoided me for years are now apologizing, bringing meals, or inviting me for coffee. I appreciate their kindness, though I can't help but wonder how things might have been different if they'd questioned the lies earlier. I've also heard that my ex's social circle is shrinking as more people learn the truth. I don't celebrate her downfall, but I can't deny feeling a sense of justice. For years, she played the victim while I bore the consequences. Now, she's facing the reality she created. My kids are adjusting, slowly but steadily. My daughter helps more around the house and talks openly about school. My son is still reserved, but recently asked if we could build a birdhouse together. Moments like these remind me why I keep fighting. They deserve to see what a stable, loving home feels like. I'm still undecided about the settlement. It could bring quick relief, but pursuing justice might set a lasting example. This is about more than me. It's about proving that lies have consequences. For now, I'm trusting my lawyer and focusing on rebuilding. After years of feeling powerless, even this progress feels like a victory. After careful thought and long talks with my lawyer, I've decided to reject the settlement. It wasn't an easy choice, but I had clear reasons. The NDA would silence me from warning others about false testimony in family cases, and the amount offered didn't reflect the real damage done. It was more about saving their reputation than making amends. Most importantly, I want my kids to see that standing up for what's right matters, that integrity isn't negotiable. Today was the first hearing for the civil suit, and it was intense. My family's lawyer argued they were victims of manipulation and meant no harm. The judge disagreed, reminding them that adults are responsible for their choices and that good intentions don't excuse perjury. Hearing that was deeply validating. James once again proved invaluable. He described how my ex bragged about exploiting my family's emotions, calling them easy to influence. His testimony left no doubt about how calculated her actions were. He also revealed new evidence. Several women from her therapy group have come forward, saying she coached them to exaggerate their divorce claims. The district attorney is now investigating possible perjury charges against both my ex and my sister. It's bittersweet. I'm relieved they're being held accountable, but it's painful that it took this much to get here. My kids are doing better with therapy. My daughter recently asked if she could speak at the custody hearing, wanting the judge to know how safe she feels with me. Her courage moved me deeply. My son, though quieter, asks thoughtful questions about the case. I try to answer honestly, without overwhelming him. My ex continues to portray herself as the victim, claiming I'm driven by revenge. She even tried delaying the custody hearing, citing emotional stress. The judge denied it, emphasizing the need to move forward given the new evidence. My parents, meanwhile, are still trying to control the narrative, calling extended relatives to paint me as the one tearing the family apart. I've received countless messages urging me to be the bigger person. It's exhausting. Where was this energy when they testified against me? I've stopped explaining myself to those who refuse to see the truth. Word of my sister's involvement has spread at her workplace, sparking concern among parents about her credibility. While I take no joy in anyone's downfall, accountability matters. Perhaps this will finally make her understand the consequences of her actions. Even within the community, the tide is turning. People who once avoided me are now reaching out with apologies and offers of support, even offering to write statements for the custody hearing. I appreciate it, though it's hard not to feel a little bitterness. Still, I'm using this support to strengthen my case. Through all of this, I'm showing my kids what resilience looks like. We talk about honesty, forgiveness, and the importance of boundaries. My daughter's bravery inspires me every day. Some think I'm being too harsh by pursuing legal action and rejecting the settlement. But this isn't about revenge. It's about justice. Family bonds don't give anyone the right to destroy someone's life. It's time they learned that. I'll share another update after the custody hearing. Thank you to everyone who supported me. Your encouragement keeps me moving forward. It's been a while since my last post, but I finally have good news. After a long and exhausting process, the judge ruled in my favor. I've been granted primary custody of my children. My ex still has visitation, but it remains supervised for now, based on the evidence presented. It's a huge relief to know my kids will grow up in a stable and safe environment. My daughter spoke bravely in court about feeling secure and loved at my home. And my son's therapist confirmed how much calmer and happier he's become. The judge acknowledged all of this in his decision, validating everything I fought for. This journey hasn't been easy.